one decision away from going back. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
away from a
Like you
different
can, like there was a Brad Lee podcast, Nestor said earlier, we're in such a reactive world. We've got to slow the fuck down and think of our consequences, right? If we're hanging out somewhere and I'm getting mouthy and you pop me in my face and I reach out and shoot you in the face and kill you, I got to deal with those consequences. It's an extreme example, but I could have just left it alone and ended up with a black eye or a broken jaw. And then Dan would have had to deal with the consequences. But since I took it too far, now not only do I have to deal with the consequence, but anybody that's connected to me in life has to deal with that exact same consequence. Like, just slow down. That's probably one of the best advice I got for one of my real estate coaches. Just slow the fuck down. Stop being in such a hurry. That's how mistakes happen. That's how lives are changed. That's how you lose a deal.
Well, what happens is we stop paying attention to the details. We start thinking about what the next thing, and we're not being our full selves right there at the moment. We need to be present, see the situation at hand, to handle the situation at hand in the best fucking possible way. You have to be present. We can't, if you're not present, if we're thinking about the deal that we lost and the one that hasn't closed yet.
Because you said you got that from a mentor, and I got that in anger management class. It's different. You can learn the same lessons in different places from different people. And mine wasn't imposed by the court. Yours was imposed by a decision to get some mentorship. And I think that's even more powerful reason why things like this are very important. Because could you imagine if I'd have made a decision that put me in a position where I was actually be able to get mentorship from somebody to give me that lesson instead of waiting for me to be court ordered because I punched Dewey dickhead in the fucking face for talking shit, and then he called the cops.
But at the end of the day, until you make a decision to do something for yourself, nothing is going to change. So at that point, it was like, I've accepted that I've probably drank my family away. So the clicking point for me was when I made the decision to check into rehab. And then my fuel was them saying, hey, where's our check? And I was like, I don't need you. And
personal accountability from that point forward.
Absolutely. And I was shit-faced drunk less than a week prior. And I don't think I was at a point where I needed detox. So after a couple of days, I had cravings and this and that, obviously, but it wasn't like meth head where I was shaking because I didn't have my alcohol, right?
I didn't know that was a thing until my 20s. And then
detox from alcohol is the only one that can truly kill you.
It's a new day grinding. Truth cuts deep, no sugarcoat signing. Every scar earned, every win redefined. Unfiltered talk, real ones on the line. From the trenches to the boardroom, we built from the grind. Sweat, equity, daily success redefined.
Yeah, that's why I shouldn't start recording yet. You're still trying to get on your shit.
It's all good. I like to fuck with you.
Yeah. So he knows that I got this deal with his ass moving the fuck around all the time.
It's all good. You know why? I love me.
He's like, I don't give a fuck what you have to talk about.
All right. What up, dude? Welcome.
Thanks, sir.
Nestor and Justin. Nestor, Cadena, and Justin motherfucking Smith. That's my dude right here. So this is my buddy that had hit me up and told me how much he was enjoying the show.
Really?
Yeah. So he's in Arizona.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, it's always nice seeing people, just be real and, not really giving a shit about what people think and, perfect timing and perfect setting and this and that, just, chopping it up. And, there's always somebody out there that can, get value from it.
1,000%. Exactly. Because that's the whole purpose of it. We don't know what's going on in other people's minds. We have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. We can, if we can help, change somebody's mind from bad to good, just one person, then this whole thing made a difference. It was worth it. That's
Absolutely. Yeah. I saw one the other day that hit me. And it was recent, so I still have a hard time remembering it, but it says it's something to the extent of like, you're always standing next to somebody, or you're always standing next to somebody that's battling something that you have no idea.
Yeah, everybody's got their shit. Everybody's got their fucking struggles. Everybody's got their battles.
Yeah.
Only, yeah, only thing that's different than you is they're better at hiding it from you.
Hmm.
Is all it is. Um, yeah, we've all fucking been there. Uh, I know, Nestor. Fucking, how's your week, real fast, before we get into everything? You just fucking bounced out to fucking Colombia and took your mom out there. How's your week been?
Thank you. It has been a blessing in disguise because everything has actually pretty much been on point. We actually leave tomorrow, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're not going back home. I'm going straight to Puerto Vallarta, going to Mexico. So
I love me some PV.
I was just like, I hate you right now, honestly. But that's
but yeah, no, we have I mean, because this here was not pleasure. Definitely, this is dropping off my mom in another country. You know what I mean? After living in the States for 40 something years, she's it's not hard. It's not easy. You know. Fortunately, the apartment that we got her, actually, fuck it, I'll show you around. Hold on, give me 1 second. Why not? Here we go. So, let's do the grand tour. Shit. Here we go. All right. So we're coming in. That's Lola. I brought her on the airplane. All right. So we're still fixing it up. Little, very small living area, dining area, and your small little kitchen. You know, everything is very petite here. Everything is very spaced. You have to remember, Bogota, Colombia. It's probably it's much bigger than New York, but it's pretty much the same thing. Everything is fighting for space. This here is a 3-bedroom, supposedly 2-bedroom or something. That's hey, hi mom. Right. So little office, and then bathroom, bedroom, bedroom. Very small, but very. There's another bedroom in the master. But other than that, oh,
no kidding.
so yeah, it's a muggy day today, a little rainy. Up here, we're up in the mountains. This is really high elevation. I don't remember exactly how high, but I know it's high. This airport here is actually one of the worst to fly out of the world, believe it or not. A lot of people actually have crashed on the mountain. What else? That's about it. Let me see. Tomorrow we're leaving to Puerto Vallarta. We have a business out there that we're trying to start. So that's for my wife. And other than that, I have worked on airplanes a little bit on the phone. I've been keeping tabs on the boys. I got to. And that's it. That's been my life the last week. Just making sure mom's gonna be okay.
Justin, you just got back from fucking camping. How was your week before you actually took off for the weekend and lived a little bit?
The week was good, man. The switched over to the new brokerage about a week ago. So I went from the big boys on the block to a smaller boutique brokerage. As far as what I do, who I serve, and all that stuff, all the same thing. But where I was at, they've got a good platform for people that want to grow and develop teams, basically recruit. And that's not really my business model. Like, I'm okay with just being an individual loan officer and getting families into homes. So it made sense to go with the smaller brokerage because it's a flat fee per transaction. But I've also partnered up with a real estate brokerage here in town that's got about 30 agents that I'm basically an in-house preferred lender for them.
Oh,
So
nice.
there's an affiliated business agreement amongst that brokerage where they'll essentially get a little bit of a cut on all those deals that come in, but it's the partnership between brokerage and brokerage. So it's not like me paying them. So that's kind of how we're able to make that happen. And whereas before, every transaction I was losing more than that on every single deal.
Right.
Now there were opportunities to get it back, but like I said, recruiting's not really my business model. Like, I'm okay with just being a I mean, I'm not a one man show. I've got a team behind the scenes, but
Right. But you're a fucking hustler and you just want to get it done.
yeah, there's, especially coming from the retail mortgage bank, side of things with so many hands in the cookie jar. And when I came over to being a broker, it really opened my eyes on like how much borrowers are paying, because you have all these different middle level managements that's getting paid. Not that they didn't earn their keep to get where they're at, but at the end of the day, like, you have nothing to do with this transaction.
Mm. Sounds familiar.
You know, but yeah, it was good. When I go camping and go out and sometimes hit it too hard, it definitely reminds me that I'm not 20 anymore. But at the end of the day, that's on me. I adopted a whole. I don't remember who said it, but I'm a thumb pointer. Like, it's this guy. Like, I did that shit to myself. I can't point fingers at other people and blame them.
I'll keep that shit. Like, yeah, I did that
Yep.
shit. No,
Hey,
that's
own it.
well, yeah.
And then
Everything's my
taking mom out to Vegas next weekend for her birthday / Mother's Day. So
nice.
When's Mother's Day?
Fucking
next Sunday.
Oh shit, I'll be in Mexico.
Flying back to Colombia. It just clicked right there. That's fucking hilarious. He's like, oh, yep, looks like I'm coming back. No.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, I'm coming back in June.
Okay. All right.
I'll come back here for like a Thursday to a Monday type deal in June.
I was thinking about this conversation pretty much for the last couple days. And what's off limits? Because I want to dig into your fucking story, because I know you from childhood, and then we fucking went our separate ways. But you had a period in your life that probably was not as crazy as mine, but crazy enough to where you actually like left and went to Job Corps and fucking did a whole bunch of shit. Fucking what is
I'm an open book, man.
okay?
I'm an open book.
Well, fucking tell everybody a little bit about yourself, because I think it's a fucking very impactful story,
For
and
sure.
fucking just dig in right there.
Yeah. So grew up in Colorado. Like I always tell people, it's kind of where I went to high school. There wasn't much growing up per se. I kind of put it as really trying to be that people pleaser, and ended up basically hanging out with the wrong people. Like, not that they were good or bad people, but it wasn't really somewhere I should have been, at that point in time. Probably did some things that I shouldn't have done, and didn't realize until I went back home back in, I think the last time I was back there was in 17, and I left in 01. And I didn't realize, like, we grew up in the ghetto, like, not like projects or anything like that. A lot of good homes, and uh, same parent families and siblings and this and that. But like, you go back and you look, you're like, holy shit, this is
We're fucking wild.
yeah. Fortunately, there's a lot of that time frame that I blocked out. And even prior to Colorado, just in childhood, like, I go through like different like networking groups, and they always pose a question of like favorite childhood memory and this and that. And like, I look back and there's really not much that was really worth remembering, I guess. Not that I had I lived in a great home, there were good people. I look back now, and there was a house that we used to always hang out across the street, and coincidentally, his name was Justin as well. And his parents were kind of like the cool parents on the block, and that's where everybody was able to go and kind of almost kind of like we all wanted to grow up so fast. We all wanted to be adults. And now I look back at it now, and it's like, I mean, I won't drop any names, but like, I'm literally those parents. Like, there's been times where I've wanted to call his mom and just be like, yo, I really understand what you went through. Like, how did you do this shit? And because I mean, there's times here, I mean, we've had friends of our kids that have lived here for months on end. I mean, I've got two in the other living room that are living now. We're always the house where everybody comes to. They know it's a safe space. Like, I'm not going to judge them. I'm going to shoot them straight.
Yeah.
And let's see, it would have been probably, I would have been maybe 16 or 17. Ended up with a 45 in my face. And I said, it's time to fucking go. And I think 36 hours later, we packed up our shit. We were out of there.
That's why you left, huh?
Well, that's why I left the second time.
Okay.
The first time I left, which I guess would have been about a year, or so maybe that would have been like maybe that was 03. Because it was in and out of a couple different high schools. Got suspended from one, got expelled from another, got sent back to another. It was kind of right in sophomore, junior year. Parents got divorced. So went from house to house. And then it got down to a point where it's like, all right, well, you're either going to go to the military, you're going to go to jail, or we've got this third option called Job Corps. What the fuck is Job Corps? And we've got one here in town in Tucson. Nothing like what I went through. Like, they're actually in town, have the freedom. There's no like on-site dorms. Same concept of like trade school, kind of learning a trade, finish up your high school diploma, stuff like that. But they kind of have free reigns. Where we were in the middle of fucking Montana in between two mountain ranges. The closest town was like 25 minutes away, and it was like 2,000 people. And kind of same thing, tried to build my way up and ended up getting knocked back down. And that's actually where I met my wife. And she was always kind of like top of the class. I was always like the, shithead that didn't want to listen to anybody. And somehow it clicked, and ended up graduating and ended up going back to Colorado, kind of getting back in my old ways. And then that incident happened, and I was like, all right, it's time to go, babe. She didn't really understand exactly the full effect of that. But yeah, so we ended up going back to Montana for a little while. We were gonna basically be the 70s show couple, like working at the mill and shit, right? Just go work your 9 to 5 for 30 years and then fucking retire and still be broke. And they closed the mill down, and that was like our saving grace. Otherwise we'd probably still be there. And we were both tired of cold. She grew up in Montana. I grew up in Colorado. And so we spun an atlas around. So for all you young folks out there that don't know what an atlas is, it's literally a paper book. I think Dan did an episode on this the other day. It's a paper book, and it's got fucking maps in it. And even nowadays, you look at GPS, and they can't even keep them up to date, because sometimes you're flying. You're not even on a road.
Right.
So we literally spun an atlas around, I don't know, 7 or 8 times. And it was San Antonio and Tucson. Flipped a coin, Tucson won. So we backed up our shit again and came down to Tucson. Didn't know nobody, and got a job. She got a job. And then, so that was in 03. So we've been in Arizona for 22 years now.
No shit.
It's more than half my life.
2003 was my first year. Yeah, was my I got my mortgage license in 2002. So 2003 I had been already a year. My son was born in 2003, and that's one of the beauties back then in the mortgage industry. I was able to ride that wave, and
So 08.
all the way up to, actually I tried to ride it all the way up to 09. It didn't work, but yeah.
Was that when you got mortgage too? When you moved down there?
What's that?
Justin, was that when you got into mortgages as well?
No, not at all. I started off still painting, because that's what we did in Job Corps. We did painting. And then we learned real quick that laborers, we'll call them laborers, will work for a lot cheaper. So I got into sales or no, what did I do after that? Took a job at a Jack in the Box temporarily just to, keep things moving. Ended up doing that for about 2 or 3 years, and I was a DM, so I was running like 3 different Jack in the Boxes, and it was cool, man. Didn't have kids. Rocked the drive-through and just, made it what I could, and then ended up getting fired because I had a pretty close crew. So like I've always, been in management for, a couple different positions, and I was kind of the cool boss, and we would throw words around and throw little jokes around and this and that. And I pissed off this old lady one time, and she took a random conversation that we had on Saturday night at like 4 o'clock in the morning, because I always worked like a 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. and got fired. And Michelle was, I don't know, maybe 4 or 6 months pregnant. So had to jump on to DES, which is basically like the government assistance insurance and stuff like that. And then took another position, same thing, just to kind of keep the wave going and bringing in some money, and got into the wireless industry, and which had a blast. We were the cell phone hustlers in the mall. This is before they had like the curling iron guys and the lotion guys, and like when the mall was popping, like it was the place to be, and it was
back
great.
then was Metro PCS came out around that time, 2002, 2003, I think it was. And they started popping up stores.
Yep. So this would have been from like
Cricket, yeah. Boost Mobile.
Yep.
Yep.
I remember when we first got our first Bluetooth phone. And the cell phone industry was crazy, man, because it went from like big phones to small phones, and now they're back to big phones. Fun period, had a great time. Put myself in the hospital twice due to exhaustion. Body just broke down, and I was working 9 to 9. I'd hit the gym for an hour, and then I'd go close the bar down, and then do it all over again. And it was my daughter's 1-year birthday party when I was the last one to show up, is when it hit me that I was dead. And at that point, I was just like, all right, I got to get the hell out of management. So I got out of management, went out, took a desk job, took 11 years of my life that I'll never fucking get back. But it was just an autopilot for so long, grew up being a big pothead, alcohol wasn't really my thing. And then discovered anxiety in 2008. Don't know what happened. It just hit me, and I'd burn, and I'd be so damn paranoid. I'm like, all right, nope, I ain't doing this. What's that brown stuff in a bottle? Let's try that. And I look back now, and at the time it was just, I was the functioning alcoholic. But I look back now, it's just a fucking cop out. I was just a selfish asshole that all I cared about was me. And after about, I don't know, 10, 12 years of just, a 6-pack, 12-pack and a half a bottle a day, it was a random weekend getting out of jail, just for disorderly conduct. And I get home, and all the alcohol in our house was sitting on the front area. Like, oh, fuck. So at that point, it was I already felt that I'd lost everything. I was like, all right, it's me versus me now. And made a decision to go to rehab. What a fucking joke that program is. Really? And I was self-pay. I go in there. And I can't speak to all of rehab, maybe just this specific facility.
All right.
I was self-pay, and I go to check myself in, and I could tell the lady was on the phone talking to somebody that was getting assistance, like state assistance to get into the program. And the first question they asked me, they said, do you have our check? I'm like, what? I said, sure do. Tore that shit up, put it back in my pocket, and I quit cold turkey that fucking day.
Good for you.
And that lasted about 2 years. And then I got to a point, it was like, I don't have anything to prove to anybody anymore, including myself. I can quit for a day, 10 years. If I can't control it, it means nothing. And during that time frame, is when I deleted all my old social media and just started off all scratch. And just shared my journey, and nothing to do with mortgage, nothing to do with, getting families into homes. It was all about, I'm not drinking today. You need help, you know how to get a hold of me, kind of thing. You'll probably notice now, Dan, that like I don't share any of that shit anymore. So I'm not sober.
Yeah.
I'll share my story all day long, but I'm not going to put on a front and tell people that, hey, you're a bad person because you drink.
Yeah.
I still tie one off from time to time, and goes back to you did that shit to yourself. Yeah. And then so that's how I ended up getting into. So during sobriety, or during that time, I had so it was like October 19. So within about 60 to 90 days, I was licensed. Took me about a year and a half to get licensed in the mortgage world. Just because it wasn't a priority. And so I ended up doing that and doing it ever since.
That's quite the big jump from fucking painter to the mortgage industry, but there's a lot of big jumps there. It's pretty significant. And I think the biggest thing that I notice is that you took a lot of personal accountability in all of your situations. And
Sure.
for some, that's not something that's really taught in the world anymore.
Well, you have to remember, we live in and remember we had this conversation before. We live in a reactive world. We live in a reactive environment. So, unfortunately, based on programmings and so forth, until we start changing our own programming, becoming aware, becoming conscious of the decisions that we make, it's like, yep, I wanted to have a drink and I drank, and that's what, I have this hangover or whatever. That was my fault, but I'm cool with it. That's it. Did I act a fool? Whatever. You can control. Once you understand, you can control yourself. You can. It's not about saying I just can't do it. No, you can do anything the fuck you want, dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's literally up to nobody knows better than you, right? Nobody knows better than you how far you can take your own shit. That's it. I mean, just my biggest thing, I quit. I don't want to say I quit drinking. I love having a beer with a friend, but I won't have two. If I'm friend, hey, let's have a beer. Of course, I'll enjoy the moment, but I won't. The taste just goes away. My story was a little bit different with that, because when I realized what kind of a person I was becoming when I couldn't, and I just let the alcohol take over, that's when I said, I don't say I have a problem with it. I never really did. But I just did. I had a problem with the person I was becoming. That's it. Because even though I wasn't a big drinker, and when I did drink, I just said, fuck it, let's just go and get sloshed. And all the fucking mistakes that we made. Oh yeah, I was drunk. You're a fucking idiot, is what you are. Because I mean, it's liquid fucking courage, right? So our tone gets louder, our aggression gets worse. We lose our consciousness, is the way I say it. We do. We turn into, like you said, what was that robot? Just
autopilot.
Yeah, and autopilot. And I believe that's what alcohol does to us. And I know to me it does.
Yeah, it doesn't do that to me. It's that's how I turn everything off. A lot of
See,
people I know
mine is
is
I
they use it to escape.
3 years ago, as an adult, I started smoking marijuana. As an adult, I didn't smoke. I was the epitome of fucking Nancy Reagan. We had this conversation before. I didn't do dick, but it was. And to me, a fucking joint is, how can I say this? It centers. I don't know. I just feel centered. I feel cool. I'm like, all right, I am fully functional. Fully, like you would say, you know, I've seen both sides. I've seen functioning alcoholics and I've seen functioning potheads, and it's two completely different people. Completely different people. So, as an adult, I am all for marijuana. I smoke once in a while. It centers me. It does my thing. You know, whatever. But I won't, as far as the drinking is concerned. You know, what's fun about having a hangover?
I
You
mean, I
know,
don't get hangovers, so I don't
you don't
know.
get hangovers. Yeah, so it's the same thing as, like, for example, my wife. She's a beer drinker. She loves her Corona. You know,
Uh,
yeah.
Even when Justin was just talking about that, yeah, I think he's probably one of the reasons why I was more curious whether or not I could take a year off alcohol or not was one of the things because
Mhm.
I had done 75 hard and I was like, all right, cool. I've done all the different phases. Like this isn't that. It's not hard. It's just a
Mhm.
decision. And I think a lot of people get so caught up with something and they say they can't do it. Well, I can't control it.
Yes.
I need it. And
They're not willing to change. They're
yeah,
scared. They're scared of change.
Correct.
so and this stuff.
But also know that, like, we're one decision away from going back. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
away from a
Like
different
you can like there was a Brad Lee podcast. Like Nestor said earlier, like we're in such a reactive world. Like we've got to slow the fuck down and think of our consequences, right? Like if we're hanging out somewhere and I'm getting mouthy and you pop me in my face and I reach out and shoot you in the face and kill you, I got to deal with those consequences. Like it's an extreme example, but like I could have just left it alone and ended up with a black eye or a broken jaw, and then Dan would have had to deal with the consequences. But since I took it too far, now not only do I have to deal with the consequence, but anybody that's connected to me in life has to deal with that exact same consequence.
yeah.
Like just slow down. Like that's probably one of the best advice I got for one of my real estate coaches. Just slow the fuck down.
That's
Stop being in such a hurry. Like that's how mistakes happen. That's how, lives are changed. That's how, you
That's
lose a deal. Like,
hmm.
Well, what happens is we stop paying attention to the details. We start thinking about what the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and we're not being our full selves right there at the moment. We need to be present, see the situation at hand, to handle the situation at hand in the best fucking possible way. You have to be present. We can't, if you're not present, if we're thinking about the deal that we lost and the one that hasn't closed yet,
Hmm.
you
That's
know?
interesting because you said you got that from a mentor, and I got that in anger management class. It's different, like the different. You can learn the same lessons in different places from different people. And mine wasn't imposed by the court. Yours was imposed by a decision to get some mentorship. And I think that's even more powerful reason why things like this are very important because could you imagine if I'd have made a decision that put me in a position where I was actually be able to get mentorship from somebody to give me that lesson instead of waiting for me to be court ordered because I punched Dewey dickhead in the fucking face for talking shit and then he called the cops? Like it just so that's ridiculous. It angers me and makes me laugh at the same time. Oh man. So what was the moment you realized that your life had to change? You said when that guy put a gun in your face. Uh,
But it didn't. But that didn't change it.
right, you just moved.
It just moved,
So
and I went on with my merry way.
yeah.
After that, like I think what because I had quit for. I mean, like you said, you done 75 hard. I've done 75 hard. I tried to quit drinking for the kids, quit drinking for my wife. But at the end of the day, until you make a decision to do something for yourself, nothing is going to change.
Mm.
So at that point, it was like, okay, I've accepted that I've probably drank my family away. So the the clicking point for me was when I made the decision to check into rehab, and then my fuel was them saying, "Hey, where's our check?" And I was like, "I don't fucking need you. I don't need you."
So that
And
was personal accountability from that point
a-
forward.
absolutely, absolutely. And I was shit faced drunk less than a week prior,
Mm.
and I don't think I was at a point where I needed detox. So, after a couple of days, like, I mean, I had cravings and this and that, obviously, but like, I wasn't like, like a meth head where like I'm shaking because I didn't have my alcohol. Right.
I didn't know that
But
was a thing until my 20s, and then I
yeah, like
was
detox from alcohol is the only one that can truly kill you.
yeah.
And,
What?
yeah,
Yeah.
Are you serious? I
Yeah.
had a friend of mine die. Dolly and I, we had a friend recently. I think he died last year. Or the year before. He poisoned himself on purpose on alcohol. He's like, I want to die. And he started drinking, and he killed himself drinking.
I mean, there's
And
two guys that we grew up with that pretty much drank themselves to death. And it's a real sad story. One guy was actually my high school weightlifting partner, played the same position as me in football. And another one had a twin brother that was, I think he's a, I don't know if he's a ranger or a green beret, or he was something in the army. And those two guys, they both were in the class of, I want to say 2001 or 2002, and they both drank themselves to death
hmm,
within like 2 years of each other, I want to say. That's
yeah,
it's something that's it's a alcohol is a different type of thing because it's the only legal poison outside of what tobacco.
it's literally poison.
Yeah, and it's like it's the normalized version of what everybody does on the weekends. And you know, I don't really care for marijuana and things like that, but in all actuality, I mean, it came literally from the earth. Nobody had to distill it, put it in a bottle, and
Mm-mm.
sell it. So, no, to each their own. And yes, I do still drink, but it's just it's so interesting that it is the normalized piece of culture. And I tell Nestor about there's a guy that went to Harrison that I grew up with. Oh, we played little league football together. We played against each other in high school basketball. We went to the same college. He ran track in college. I played football in college. We both dropped out and went back to the workforce because I got hurt. He decided it wasn't fun no more. And funny enough, we're both named Daniel. So Daniel still lives in Colorado. He's never had a drop of alcohol in his life. This Daniel lives in Florida, and I enjoy my booze. Daniel that lives in Colorado drives for Ferrari and started a fucking real estate business called Walked State Properties and has built an amazing life for himself. And I have a pretty damn good life. Same scenarios, but I think his bank account is a lot bigger than mine is, and his life is a lot better than mine is. And
yeah,
I look at well, perspective is everything. So you can say, but that motherfucker has everything monetarily that I would like to aspire to get to. He has a great wife, great family. Um, on the outside looking in, the social media view that everybody gets to see.
Doesn't
But
mean he's better than me though.
I never said he was better than me. I
You
did.
said his life. You said his life was better than mine.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that he's better than me. Like,
So,
so that's your interpretation. So, yeah, nah, that motherfucker can't hold a candle to Daniel. You're crazy. Um, but that's the thing is like you can look at all of those different attributes, and I talk about the path. His path was hard. It wasn't easier. Like that's the thing. Everything was still had its own level of difficulty. He still had to overcome his same struggles. But the difference is he didn't take the 50 steps back that I took by making poor choices in certain areas. And so,
Then again, your backward steps is what's got you to where you're at today, though.
correct, because I had to learn different lessons. But a lot of those lessons were probably self-inflicted because of the choices that I was making. So the circumstances are still going to be circumstances, but yeah, there's a guy that was on the south side of Springs I grew up with, another one, and oh my God, everything's systemic racism and this and that, and we can't get ahead and blah 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 blah. It's like motherfucker, we grew up in the same neighborhood.
Yep.
Well, you don't know that. Look, we're the same skin color. Tell me more about your fucking systemic racism. Like, shut the fuck up. I hate that shit. So it's not a white or black thing. It's all choices. And yeah, the circumstances do happen, but it is your ability to respond to and how you're going to react to everything is really what it boils down to. But like back to that little circle jerk that I went through, life is. I feel like life would be very different for people if they did not consume alcohol at a very young age. Um, is where I was getting with that. Because if I look at that guy, Daniel Nahaba, if I look at Eric Olson, if I look at Donald Trump, there, if you go and look at entrepreneurs that do not drink and what their lives look like it is very interesting. If you'll start to notice a fucking pattern. And it's not a very bad pattern at all. But then again, there are a lot of them that do drink. But yeah, the ones that I know are most notable are the ones that never made those. I never opened that door.
It I agree. I definitely have seen the stories of specifically entrepreneurs that have never dabbled in that world of alcohol. But
Yeah.
also I also gotta play devil's advocate here on a lot of those motherfuckers I don't personally know either.
Mm.
So it's it's like the days that, I share things on social media, and I'm guilty of it too, but like we've got to share our struggles.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because so many times people think John and Sally's life is amazing, and they are absolutely fucking miserable. You know what I mean? Like there's been times where if I just want to compare it monetarily, if I look at my best year versus probably my worst year,
You've
I
had some good.
made my first year in the mortgage world, I made the least amount of money I've ever made in 20 years. My bills were paid. I was happy. There was only a couple zeros in my bank account, but it was good. I've had three of my best years. I'm fucking broke.
It's crazy how that works, isn't it?
But once again, it goes back to this. You know what I mean? Like I'm a spender. If I want something, I go get it. Now I'm not saying, hey, if I want a brand new car, I'm gonna go buy cash or swipe my debit card or anything like that. But if I don't want to cook dinner, we want to order DoorDash, we'll order DoorDash. If Mama wants some new pants and a new shirt because we're going out next weekend, Mama gets a new pants and new shirt. But I know what I need to do to get out of it.
Mm.
I just need to have stronger willpower on keeping my wallet in my damn pocket.
Mm.
You know, um, it's like realtors are I think very guilty of this. They're sharing their stats and top 2%, top 5%, yada yada, closed $27 million, but they don't break it down to where the average consumer can understand. The average consumer heard out of all that mumbo jumbo is that you make $27 million.
Yeah.
That's why I don't share that. Like, who wants to buy and sell a house? Like, that's not my style. I share credit tips. I share mortgage tips. I share, you know, like, you'll never hear me talk definitive on interest rates. Um, and I still get that's still the most asked question that I get. What's your rate? Zero. I'm like, ooh, how do I get that? Hey, Cash, you don't need me. And they're like, no, but for real, what's your rate? I was like, well, I don't know. What's your credit look like? What's your income look like? What's your assets look like? How do you get your income? What do your debts look like? Have you bought a house before? I mean, do you own any other real estate? Have you had a bankruptcy? Like, are you buying a duplex? Are you buying a townhome? Is it a single family residence? Is it in Colorado? Is it in California? Is it in Arizona? Like, there's so many moving pieces. And no matter how many times I explain that, like, people just don't get it. So once again, I go back to choices. I can say, hey, you're a fucking idiot. Stop asking me that question. Or break it down and kind of get to their level and explain it in a way that they can understand.
Hmm.
Like, we all have acronyms in all of our industries. So when I catch myself talking to a client or an agent and I'm using these acronyms, I'll say VOE and then I'll specify exactly what VOE means. Verification of employment. Well, why do you need that? Well, we need to verify that yada yada yada. You didn't work for 2 months. You make $25 an hour, but your year to date only sports 17, and
Hmm.
it's April. Oh well, I went from a W-2 to salary and took a management position. Cool. That's what we call an LOE, and a letter of explanation to explain to underwriting where this gap is. So those are the kind of things that I shared. Families that, it took us 2 years to get him into a home, because then that gives hope to that 37-year-old that's been renting and in and out of his mom's house, living rent free, that, hey, home ownership is still possible.
I didn't even
You
know that was
know,
like that big of a process because it wasn't that hard for us. I had no
and,
clue. And
and,
both,
and it,
yeah, that's the way it is.
it, and and it could just be that the lender that you were dealing with knew what the hell they were doing, and they were able to break it down into a term that you guys understood, and was kind of able to, hold your hand
Hmm.
because you knew exactly what was going on.
Yeah. Oh, I hadn't filed taxes yet in
Yeah.
4 years when I did that. So we had money, but we needed a co-signer. Very
Yeah,
first.
like, cash is not king in our world, man. Unless you got an invoice, like, oh, well, because the two questions I ask everybody: how much money do you have come out of pocket, and what's a comfortable monthly mortgage that you feel that you can pay? And that at least gives me a starting point. Because if you say I've got $2,500 and I can spend $1,700 a month, versus I've got 50 grand and I can spend 3,500 a month, or I've got 10 grand cash and I want a $700 mortgage. All three of those situations are different. And my approach is going to be different amongst all three of these families, because they're all in a different situation. So that's what you've got to kind of break it down to people. And then also, sharing with your partners to stay in their lane. Like, you got questions about bathrooms, backyards, and kitchens, ask your agent. You get questions about percentages and dollar signs, hey, I'm your guy. We're on a team, and ultimately my main goal is to get into that finish line. And I say it all the time. Sometimes it's in 30 days and sometimes it's 2 years. But
I'm gonna bug you more about fucking your fucking thought process and shit now. Anybody needs
Oh,
a mortgage in Arizona? Fucking hit up Justin shit.
or Colorado or
Right.
California.
Jesus Christ, you on the move, huh?
Well,
Yep.
ever since they changed the whole NMLS system, now you're national. Now you just gotta get certified by the state, and it's reciprocal. Just like the same thing as insurance.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
the thing I stopped doing that shit back in 2012 when you have to like re-up every year. And I said, "Fuck it."
but the re-up is literally 2 hours of your time and give them their $180 or whatever it is. Like only reason I got licensed in Colorado was because my processor needed to do some family loans.
Is that each state that you do that in? You got to pay them their $180 and fucking do your continuing eds and all that bullshit.
Yeah, some CEs are one, continuing educations are one, some are four, some are six, like Colorado doesn't require any. But Colorado was a bitch to get. Like they literally almost made me fly to Colorado to go to an approved fingerprinting center to get my fingerprints done.
No, fuck.
Even though I already have FBI approved fingerprints.
Mm,
California, they used the one from Colorado. Didn't even have to do it again.
that's funny.
So, I've considered Florida, Dan and I've got a childhood buddy that's in Florida doing big things out there. And, it might benefit both of us to do that. So I've considered that. The only reason I got Colorado, like I said, is she wanted to do some family loans, and I made dog shit to do her a solid because she's part of my team. I've got an agent that is brother of the real estate brokerage that's out in California. So that's the only reason I'm getting licensed in California.
I mean,
You
that's
know,
what led me to getting all those freaking licenses when I was licensed in insurance because I knew people in all those different states or had agents in those states.
hmm
And I think I got up to 22 different freaking states. But
yeah,
then they all start popping for renewal. And I was like, yeah, so I'm not going to do that.
yeah, and it
And
depends on the volume too.
yeah, the volumes,
You
like, I would
like,
get a license to sell in any state, like, no matter what, when I was hungry and young. But at a certain point where it's like, that little $25 a month term isn't going to be worth me getting a fucking license in that state. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
California, if he's doing 10 or 12 million and I'm able to get 10, 20% of that, okay,
yeah, that's a big difference. So that's
you know.
a difference.
But
Hmm.
I truly like. I mean, it sucks that it took me 35 years to figure out like something that I truly am passionate about doing. But then again, if I would have got into the mortgage industry when Nestor did, there's no way in hell I'd still be in it. Because of who I was back then,
Right.
it was all about chasing the dollar, not giving a shit about people.
Well, I
So I
mean,
think it happened for a reason.
I
Oh,
love option arms, baby. I loved option arms.
it's
Yeah,
funny.
I was getting paid 4 points on the back. Oh, love it.
now, granted, your average home wasn't 450 back then, but
No, it was 350.
oh shit.
Yes, puppy.
Welcome to Florida.
Yeah.
'Cause
Poppy was a millionaire before he turned 30.
mm,
Yeah, but no, it was retarded. It literally was. Um, you tried to do the right thing, but unfortunately, the market. Oh, my fingers in the camera. Sorry.
I was wondering what you were doing.
Eh.
Well, I'm preparing coffee. It's been a
It
really
was
long.
so easy back then. Ninja
It really
loans?
was. It was retarded, especially no incomes, no Ninas, no income, no assets. Stated income, stated whatever it was. Fucking, I would. What do you call it? I was shit credit certified. Blah blah blah. You know, like what he said. What's your credit? How much money you got? And I already knew how much money I was going to make. It was just how much.
Yeah.
How much money did I want to make?
Yeah.
It was if I made 10 grand, uh, it was like a minimum loan. It was
Yeah.
not.
And I learned that change in mindset real quick. When I got in within about 6 months is don't focus on the loan amount. Just focus on helping more people and stop chasing the dollar. And the dollars are going to end up in your bank account. Yeah, you know what I
Always.
mean? So like, and that's the benefit of being a broker. It's like, do I play favoritism? I don't know if that's really the right word, but like, hey, if I know that I've done 4 deals for this family, am I going to take a haircut on the third and fourth one? You bet your ass I am,
Better
you
believe it.
know? But if there's a borrower that like, hey, I've got to drive 30 minutes 7 times during this transaction to collect docs because you can't figure out how to send me an email or take me a picture or scan something in, you bet your ass I'm going to charge you a little bit.
Mhm.
Like, now I'm not saying like I'm gonna like take advantage of you, like old school like car salesman, like where this car's worth 3 grand. I'm gonna get him for 8. I'm gonna get that extra 5. You know, nothing like that. But like if it's if but it's a difference of maybe making, we'll say 5,000 on a deal versus 4,000, just random numbers here, like in the mortgage world, like we're not making 20 grand on a transaction. Now, are there ways to are there ways to do that and still be ethical? Absolutely, there is, because lenders get paid off of a loan amount and realtors get paid off of a purchase price. But people think that everybody in real estate just has it easy. They don't tell you that, oh, I made 20 grand this month. Okay, cool. But I
Right.
also worked 117 hours a week. I had 4 files that got put together, collecting documents, doing this, getting through underwriting, blah, 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 only for them to call me and say, hey, we're going to rent for another year. Or, realtors, um, I showed them 37 houses and we finally got them to the finish line. You know what I mean? So like at the end of the day, until we get to the finish line, don't nobody get paid,
Right.
Until you close, no.
and the ones that do it for the money are your wham bam, thank you, ma'ams. I'm going to hold a license to do friends and family loans. Personally, I don't enjoy friends and family loans.
No, because you work your hardest and you make the least.
Yep.
It's the truth. Because you're trying to give it away, and then they go, "Wait, you got nothing better?" And you're like, "Yeah."
Like the market right now is at 7.25. I gave you 5.99 and I'm literally making $600 and I have to pay out 2 grand.
Yeah, because you're
You do
processing.
the math.
You're buying down his points. Not fair. Yeah.
Oh, so I'm curious. So, what would the 17-year-old version of you think about the life you're living now?
Wow, it's a great question. First reaction,
Mm-hmm.
holy shit, you're alive.
All right. Second reaction.
Um, I'd like to say I knew you'd get there, but if I'm being honest, I'm probably lying to myself on that one.
Mm.
Um, it does get better. I'm like,
You have to remember Jim
I
Rohn
think,
always
yeah,
said, this too shall pass.
like, there's good days and bad days, no matter how many zeros you have in a bank account, no matter how much ass you get, no matter like how many lives you change, you're gonna have good days and bad days. And that's why I like kind of stopped my whole morning routine and I stopped beating myself up because I'm not getting up at 4 a.m. anymore.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, who fucking cares? As long as you're getting and I did it for years. But I would go through and like my morning routine, you know, at one point for a while was, you know, wake up, get my coffee, smoke my cigarette, take a couple laps around the pool, you know, talk to G-Man for a little bit, jot some stuff down in a journal, read, you know, hit the gym like as soon as they open. You know, I'm in the shower at the office before anybody's getting into bed, and I'm like, you know what? I can get up at 6:30, either hit the gym in the morning, hit the gym at lunch, you know, make my calls, do something good for somebody, take some time for myself to just reflect on something, anything. Make a phone call or answer a phone call at 7 p.m. You know, making sure that if I'm unavailable, that I send a message back and say, yo, I can't talk right now. I'll hit you tomorrow. You know, I can be just as productive doing the latter.
Mm.
You know, I was so focused on checking the boxes on my morning routine. I wasn't paying attention to anything else. You know, I felt great, but like how productive was I actually being for other people? And I really wasn't.
That's interesting. You always hear a lot about morning routines. I know I'm pretty religious about my habits as far as, but I don't really. Everybody's like, yeah, well, I get up in the morning, I hit the gym, I'll cold plunge, and I'll go sun my butthole, and then I'll drink 3 cups of water, stand on one leg, and then I have my yoga, and they've got 22 things I've done by fucking noon. And my thing was always hit the gym, get moving, hydrate, and then I was already at work, and then that's pretty much all it was. And the people that have routines are there. They should be there because that's what they have to do to be productive. Oh, like I have to get up early and go to the gym because I work 12 hours a day. And if I don't go in the morning, that's literally the only time of the day that I actually can control that because you
Absolutely.
don't know what's going to happen after. Everybody's stealing your time. So that's very.
And
I
I've seen people,
I had to do it to be selfish.
yeah. And I've seen people record their content like behind the scenes stuff, and then they take their ass back to bed at 6 o'clock. Well, what the fuck was the point then? To wake up at 3:33 to take a fucking photo for Instagram?
Oh, no, no, no. Are you serious?
Like I'm like, why? Like like
That's true.
mentorship and like coaching, I think is extremely valuable. But over the years, it has opened my eyes to how many fake motherfuckers are out there.
The charlatans and the frauds. I like that word. I'm keeping it. I haven't heard it in a long time. The charlatans.
The charlatans. You know, it's like it's like, you know, and going to all the conferences, and I don't need any hoorah rah. Like
You don't
like
need somebody to pump you up.
you know, like some of the like my real estate coach, one of my real estate coaches, like he's never even been a realtor. He's never even been a lender. He comes from the title background. He was a title agent, like marketing rep or escrow officer, like all that stuff. Made amazing money, and threw it, not threw it all away, but put it, like stepped away from it all to help people. And it's cut and dry. Like it's like your grandma grabbing you by the ear, say, "Hey, look, dumbass, this is what you need to do. You don't have to have anything all frilly and fancy. Like, do this, this, and this. Once you master those things, all right, cool, we'll go on that. You know, just basic items like anywhere and everywhere on my social media, no matter what platform you go to, I guarantee you've got a phone number that you can call me.
I was looking at the.
You've got an email that you can get a hold of me. Everything I post on social media is public for everybody to see. I'll do a video with my shirt off. I'll say fuck on camera. I want to show people that I am human. Now, Does that make me any less professional because I'm in a backwards hat and a t-shirt versus a suit and tie? Like one of my favorite posts was it was like 5 different not versions, like attires of me, a dress shirt, 3-piece suit, no shirt, fat guy, not so fat guy anymore. And I said, at the end of the day, this is the same guy.
Hmm.
Now I was a different point. I mean, but all of them were within like about a year or so. So like they literally were the same guy.
No.
I didn't post an 18-year-old of me, a 22-year-old of me, a 31-year-old of me, and a 40. Like, no. Like they were all within reason, and they're all within that time frame of me being in this industry.
Yeah, that uh, social media is good and bad for a lot of things. But have you seen that 17-year-old challenge where everybody's putting up, it's a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, where they're putting up a photo from when they were 17 or 18 years old and then one of them currently?
Yeah.
I, one, I think I know where I have a photo where I was probably 17. It's in a slide deck from a speech. Because I was like, I don't have any photos because I was literally the person that you could not, if I was at a house party, you were not going to take my photo.
Yeah. And if you did,
Yeah.
it was like this.
I was I would not be photographed anywhere. But it makes me think about that. That's why I asked you that question. Um, because the person who you were back then compared to who you are now, even Nestor, like, what would your 17-year-old self say about your life? Well, where you are now compared to where you were, the person you became? Because I'm pretty sure that you'd have some choice words and you'd be like, holy fucking shit. Or did you know you'd get there?
Uh, so I never saw anything similar to what you boys have talked about as far as growing up is concerned. Um, I want to say that yes, I've always known.
Mm.
I've always known. But the only difference is how I got here. I know, which comes into place with the book I wrote that should be out by June. Yeah, because it's the book I wrote was about 13 principles about how I would talk to my 21-year-old, that 18-year-old self, right? And I did it based thinking of my son when he moved out about a month ago. I mean, he's already. So I said, what? I said, I've given this kid everything. When I said I've given this kid everything, I've gave it. When he was in third grade, he came to me with a book report. He said, Dad, I need a book report. I said, can I have a book? I'm like, sure. What book do you want? He gave me like a Garfield book. And I'm like, no, let me give you a good book. And I gave him The Richest Man in Babylon. And we sat down and we read it together. And we listened to the YouTube audio version. He's in third grade. And I sat there with him and we did together. He did the book report on The Richest Man in Babylon. His first book. Second book that he read was in fourth grade, which I helped as well, which was the Flight Edge. I always reference that book all the time. And both those books, I believe, gave him a tremendous jump because, like I said, he's 21 years old and he has the money that I had when I was 35. So, like, because, yeah, I was a millionaire before I turned 30, but then I lost it really fucking quick. Because it's just, you never know. That's why Jim Rohn always said, be a millionaire before you actually get the million, because you're gonna fucking lose it. That was me. That was the opinion of me before I started studying all that stuff. All guys, I'm serious. I knew how to make 30, 40, 50 grand. How many loans? 4 or 5 loans. That's just easy. Literally, it was nothing. You know, I would survive. I remember my first year in the mortgage business. I didn't make more than $65,000 a year. It was 2003. My son was born, I remember, and I was at the beach every day with my son. Every day, I was a beach bum. I only made 60 grand. That means I closed 5 deals, maybe the whole year. You know, so yeah, you know, that was back then, and that's the life that I gave my son as far as the freedom and everything. Now looking back and everything, and how what changed with me, and I want to say is the perception of how things are done, the the intention of how things are done, the perception of how things are done. Everything has to be done with now what I like. You figured out it needs to be done with love. Doesn't matter what it is, because if you have anything but love in your heart, it's going to come back. You may it'd be all right, but nothing I did before in my past came with love. Everything came with selfishness, obnoxiousness, fucking greed, just plain old testosterone bullshit, right? And it bit me in the ass. I was not a good person. I was not a good husband. I was not a good role model, you know, everything else. But once we figured out how to do things with love, and that's what I wrote in my book, you know, that's what changed it all. That's what changed it all. And I can honestly say that I've worked less in the last 3 years and made more of a fantastic life than anything else. When I stopped caring about the money and more about the process, everything just fell into place. It really did. And shit, you've been a part of my life for almost a year, Daniel. You know, you've seen the tremendous changes. You've seen the different things. You know,
Yeah.
and the same thing applies to you as well. But then again, it's all what we. It all comes down when we put our mind to and our heart to. That's it. Stop thinking with the wallet. Stop thinking with our dick. Just start thinking with our mind.
You know, that's interesting. Because I don't ever really think about money at all. I think about the businesses and what's going into them and whether or not they're going to help people. Well, it's like, I sell workout fucking t-shirts. That's it. I like that because I think people need their mentality to shift. That's what podcast is, what it is. That's why me and you have been sitting here for, holy fuck, could be a year in August.
Gonna be almost a year in August. Listen, and I still haven't. We still haven't sat down and gone through that whole conversation, you and I. That little recording. I've never said to you the whole thing of me talking to myself, saying, "I gotta talk to that guy. What the fuck is his name?" Yeah, Daniel. That's it. I gotta call it Daniel. Then here we go, August 9th. Fucking we start.
So, and that's based
Is
on.
that how you guys connected? Like Nestor saw a video and then just hit him up?
We met.
Yeah, we met a couple times. I was introduced to him through my broker at the time. And I ended up running a couple of training appointments for him, did some training with him, but he had already been in the insurance industry.
Okay.
And I don't know.
It wasn't me. I tried. Yeah.
And then let's see here. We went to a leadership retreat when I was on 75 hard, and I think that was the first time you actually like really talked to me.
That's the only time we've actually talked. Yeah.
You know, why the fuck are you out running around with a weight vest in the middle of the night? And then just had a conversation. I think
I was
he was the only sober person in the house too, besides me. I think he was sitting in the fucking hot tub.
No, I didn't drink. Remember? Oh shit! I wasn't. Remember?
You were the only other person.
I wasn't drinking. I was the only other person besides you that wasn't drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was with Anthony, and even he was in the hot tub having a whiskey over there. Yeah.
I mean, the ones that I think the ones that aren't uh, the ones that aren't afraid to pick up the phone or extend their hand out, I think are the ones that will never get to experience like the other side kind of thing. So, for example, I was out camping this weekend with a group of one of my running groups, and we have like alter ego names that are typically adult lyrics and yada yada yada. Everything from like single family moms to like judges to like 4-star generals to like certain people are with this group because they truly need an escape. And then you have people like me that are just like, hey, I'm the same guy in my office, at the pool, camping, with a client, right? And anyway, there was a travel guy that has literally been traveling for 4 years, and just random camp spots and sleeping on people's couches and this and that, and sometimes people put like their entire name on. We put them on like a necklace, right? And his name, it was 3 words, and the acronym was SOB, right?
Yeah.
And he broke his necklace, and he said he like changes and this and that. And I was like, well, why don't you just have different ones for different occasions? Like, what do you mean? I was like, well, you've got, I'll say, if you just have an acronym, that opens you up for people asking like, hey, what's SOB stand for?
It's this today.
And and in his case, it was spicy onion balls, right? And the name typically comes from a funny story, right? He saw 2 words and he thought it said onion, and they laughed at him, and it was basically saying, hey, here's the end of trail, like we're done, like we finished our trail, we're going to go enjoy a beer and have some conversations, right? So it was a funny story, right? But as adults, being in that environment, you try to get creative and make it a funny story. So if you go out there and you make it short, like people that like have name tags, like I don't think I've maybe on one hand how many times I've put a damn name tag on. And normally it's like because I'm at an event or this and that, and I'll write my name, I'll put it on there, and I get in the door, and then I take it off. Because then it forces people to go up and shake your hand. Hey, what's your name? Cool. What made you come here? Who brought you here? What do you do? Or how long you been in Arizona? Or whatever the case is. Or like the keyboard warriors on social media. Like you be a beneficial keyboard warrior. Like truly send some love and condolences, or truly ask, so how did you get there? Like, hey, do you have time to jump on a call? I'd love to, ask some questions. You might get a message back that says, yeah, it's $1,500 a month and we'll do lunch once a month. But hey, you don't know until you try.
Yeah. I have so many names for keyboard warriors, and none of them are nice. So,
And no matter how hard we try to not give a shit, I don't give a shit what any influencer says. I mean, maybe you might have your random David Goggins out there every once in a while, but like that shit fucking bothers people.
look,
Now, it may not impact you. It may not impact you and make you not do that anymore. But at the end of the day, that shit still fucking bothers you.
if you ever listen to the way David Goggins fucking goes off and responds to people that fucking
Oh,
talk about him,
I love it. Love it.
motherfucker, that is somebody that is triggered by motherfuckers talking shit. Like, I don't give a fuck what you think. Your response says otherwise, my friend. And like, yeah, no, you're a hard motherfucker, and I give you that shit. But yeah, no. And
One of the most
I
humble.
love his books, by the way, and all of his content. But yeah,
I love all of his content, but I noticed that one too when he went off on this one fat guy on I don't know what podcast it was, because you fat, oh, it was Rogan's pocket, you fat fucker. And I'm like, wait a moment, that's not nice. He is fat, motherfucker, but that's not nice.
people that don't care don't fucking pay you any mind.
Yeah, they don't care.
It's not worth your response.
It's not. You're right. Yeah.
I had the opportunity to see him live were Ed and Andy. It was an Arte event, and they
Okay.
basically just interviewed Goggins on stage.
I forgot that he came to Arte. That was one of
Yeah,
the I was like angry with myself for not paying that price to be there. But then
yeah. It was, you know, $1,000 ticket, and that wasn't even a VIP ticket.
yeah.
But he is a true example. I mean, obviously, I don't know him, but based on what I saw, a true example of being present.
Mhm.
When he got up there for the Q&A and was actually answering people's questions, you could tell nothing
Huh?
nothing else was around. He was focused on that individual and that individual only.
Who interviewed him? Huberman, and he was talking about Andrew Huberman, for the Stanford professor. Have you ever
Okay.
looked? So if you don't know, if you've never seen his podcast, write that shit the fuck down. Um, because he interviewed him, and Huberman interviews people on a very high level because he's a fucking Stanford professor, and he literally is giving away education uh, for free, and it's really really cool. But he was asking David about his level of being present. He's like, dude, I don't even fucking carry my phone. He was like, I think it's Jennifer, his wife now. Like,
Mhm.
she has the phones.
Yeah, he don't answer anything. He doesn't
Yeah.
know how much money he's got in the account. He doesn't know.
And
No,
it's
it's true, and it's I've I don't want to say I've learned to live that way. I'm starting to like not worry about anything at all. Just only live presently. Like like we were talking about this. This is very new to me. It's hard as fuck. It is one of the hardest things I've ever done to not really focus on tomorrow and only focus on today. Um, yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things ever because try to control your mind. I mean, there's things that you can control today, so you try to do your best on those given occasions. But then again, your mind is always thinking about what tomorrow. I got to go do that. It's like just here's a simple example. Tomorrow I have a trip. We got to be. I got to be at the airport like at 4:30 in the morning. Oh, 4:30. And I'm not going to arrive till 7, 8 o'clock at night. To Puerto Vallarta. I got a 6 hour layover in fucking Mexico City. You know, so the body's gonna start going, oh, dude. It started thinking about work. It started thinking about, I'm not gonna be able to talk to the guys. I'm not gonna, and then internally going, and this is the truth, internally on every day because the money that I make now, how I make it is it's to me I'm still trying to process it. But anyway, because I feel guilty sometimes. I really do. It's like shit today, and we made like $3,000 as a cow. So with those little things, I my mind is always trying to fight against it. When in fact I'm supposed to tell myself, no, just focus on. It's like you made the money, it's okay because you focus on the task at hand. It's okay. Don't worry about tomorrow. Let's focus on today. But not you're not leaving today. You're leaving tomorrow. Don't worry about it. Let's today. So right now we're on the call, and I'm on the call. We'll do whatever it is. That's the hardest thing I think that my wife. Well, I think both my wife and I both have started doing it this year, and even almost every night we look at each other and like we second guess a lot ourselves, but it's taught me to also believe in myself because you talk to yourself, you ask, you're like, all right, I'm not just responding. I'm actually thinking about what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? All right, cool. So these are my intentions. This is how my purpose. This is how, and everything else just kind of falls into place. It really does when you focus on, like you said, just being present. I think that's the best way. I think you're the one who told me, right, Ken? You're the one who said that I've been learning to be present. I don't know.
I do that with my wife when we're at when we go to dinner. I won't touch the phone. I won't look at the phone. But even like today, we went out to breakfast, and I'm so hyper aware of our surroundings that she's like, you haven't looked at me for like more than 30 seconds the entire time. I was like, well, you took us to a busy ass restaurant and there's fucking 1,000 people in and out the fucking door and we're sitting right next to it. And so it's just like everywhere around her, there's glass right here. And so everything around here. And she's like, you haven't looked at me once. I was like, yeah, but I'm listening and I'm not on my phone. But that's one of the things that is probably one of the more important changes that I did make, because if I don't put the phone down and not look at the emails and all the alerts, and it literally steals all of her time that she gets with me. So, and that was when I was like running and gunning and like really going after the financial services stuff. Like, I would legit be sending messages, and everywhere we went, trying to get my next appointment, and that's all I we were at fucking Disney World in line to get on Space Mountain, and I think I had contacted, like, 50 people while we were sitting there in that fucking line, and that was how I did it, and everybody's like, "How do you have so many fucking appointments?" "Because I work more than you." And that's how it always was. Well, that's not really fair to her.
To
It
anybody that you're spending quality time with.
yeah, oh, and that's that selfish side of things too. I mean, like, what's your morning routine? What's your routine like throughout the course of the day? And it's like, I had a goal. I wanted to hit X amount of dollars, and I wasn't gonna stop until I got it. And that's just people that are willing to do what others will not do are always gonna have what others don't have. It's never gonna fucking change. And I'm just willing to do the work and always have been. But
Yeah.
like, we got that
It's
beautiful woman in the other room over there. It's like, yeah, yeah, you gotta chill, bro. There's somebody else is gonna be spending time with your wife. It's bottom line. You
yeah.
don't give her attention, somebody else will.
I mean, it's a word thing, regardless to what the end. Like I always tell people, like all I've got in this industry is my name.
Mm.
I screw that up, I'm done. I better find a different industry
Listen,
because
that right
it's
there.
such a tight niche industry. Like coming down the mountain today, I left the mountain like 8:15. Not feeling too hot. I was like, and I was like, we can reschedule. And I know we made it a point. We made an appointment, and got what I needed to get done. Um, Tried to take a nap. Alarm went off at 1:30. I said, all right, I gotta wash my face, get my thoughts collected so I can be ready for a 2 o'clock call.
Yeah.
And
And when we were
because
talking about this the other day, you're like, "Yeah, I'll let you know when I'm coming down the hill." I was like, "You're gonna know what you do, what you say you're gonna do. I'll see you then."
yeah, I mean, but look, Nestor jumped on at 9:30 where he's at. Dan jumped on at 5 o'clock where he's at. It's 2 o'clock where I'm at. Like, you say you're gonna do something, do it. Like, I get it, life happens. And keep that communication, something like that. But
Here's the other thing though. Don't kick yourself in the ass when you don't do it and you're like, oh wait. Because here's the other thing. Sometimes we push shit upon ourselves that it's not meant for us to happen. And
agreed.
there's a certain things sometimes that you need to focus on as well. Because great example of me. Right. So I had an appointment that I really didn't want to do it. I'm telling you the truth. I
You
really
shouldn't
didn't.
have fucking made it.
Hold on. No, it's there's a whole scenario behind it that I said, okay, you know what? As a family, as a collective, let's do this as a collect. You know what I mean? And I'm like internally going, you're a fucking idiot, dude. You don't need to do that. But you know what? As a collective, that's fine. Let's go ahead and do it. I'm telling you the truth. But because it wasn't deep down something I really wanted to do, I didn't even pay attention to it. And that's the thing. when you don't want to fucking internally do it, you intentionally, like not consciously intention, like unconsciously intentionally, you don't do it, dude. Your fucking body, your mind says, no, you're not gonna do it. I missed 2 appointments that I'm telling you, I'm set. They're set. I have a 2 o'clock appointment. I got a 2 o'clock. I'm gonna be there. What happened? Why did I miss that appointment? Something happened around life that was completely unexplainable. Just shit happened, and I missed the appointment. It wasn't something like, oh my god, end of the world shit. Just I missed my appointment, and then the last time I missed it. I missed that appointment. Same appointment. I missed it twice. And then the last time the lady fucking emails goes, she goes, Mr. Cadena, thank you so much. Your name has been pulled off the list. I'm like, all right, that means I can't do it now. It's okay. But, I kind of felt that because now I don't get to do it. But I didn't want to do it anyway. And I intentionally really wanted to because the collective, it would have been helped out. I'll explain this shit later.
Listen,
You just got her there and you're breaking stuff already?
You're never gonna get me to fucking say that shit. Or if you don't want to do something, like, don't beat yourself up because you didn't fucking do it. Nah, bro, you shouldn't have.
Hold on. You shouldn't have made it 100%. I agree with that. I really did want to, but I'm not kicking myself in the ass because ultimately it wasn't meant to be. And that does happen. Shit does happen for a reason. I promise you, everything in life happens for a reason.
Yeah, you missing 2 appointments is because you missed 2 appointments.
I mean, I agree with both of you, actually. No, I do. I do.
I agree with Daniel. I really do. I shouldn't have said I was going to because I didn't want to do it anyway. But sometimes we do things and we say we're going to do things that we're like, all right, fine, it's fine. But for some fucking reason, out of my control.
Every time, no is a complete sentence. If somebody, oh man, can you do this? No. Oh, well, why not? Because I don't fucking want to. Like, it's not that fucking hard. It makes people uncomfortable to tell people no, but if people give you your fucking time, you're supposed to be there at that fucking time. Like, they're giving you something sacred that they can never fucking get back, and you wasted it.
Yeah. So, all right, here's my best example. Here's my best example.
It's changed my standpoint on that whatsoever. My wife fucking hates that shit about me. I don't fucking care. I will get up and shake the motherfucking bed if she fucking tells me she's tired after she told me she was going to go to the gym with me in the morning. Like, I don't, and she's like, I fucking hate you. Like, her voice changes while I'm picking the bed up and slamming it up and down. But guess what? Next time I asked her, hey, you want to hit the gym tomorrow morning? She'll be like, no, I fucking sleep in. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a very simple thing to just say fucking no and not waste other people's time. Don't be a fucking douchebag. Tell no. It's easy.
Yes.
Simple sentence.
Yes.
Yes. However, on the agreeing on both of you, it goes back to the ownership part. For example, 2 weeks ago or so, I had an agent send me a referral. And I reached out to the lady like, hey, when's a good time? Yada, yada, yada. And this was early. It was like 4 hours. It was like, I sent her a text and like, she was available in like 4 hours. Cool. Got it on the calendar, this and this. And then it was like a week later. I'm like, holy shit. I sent her a message right then and there. I was like, you know what? I don't have any excuses. I spaced it off and I totally forgot. I apologize if you don't want to jump on a call. I completely understand. And you know what her response was? I thought you called and I missed your call.
Yeah.
Didn't even know. You know what I mean? So like that's what I mean by like if you just own it, like people are human. Like
yeah, but you're not gonna tell her like, yeah, fuck it. Well, I guess it wasn't meant to be. No, you dropped the fucking ball. So there's a big fucking difference. The shit happens yeah, you missed the fucking appointment. Holy fuck. Oh shit, I better reach back out to him. Dude, my fucking bad. I totally fucked up. When can we correct this? Or the other side of the like, well, just fucking karmic energy just wasn't supposed to happen. Nah, toodaloo, motherfucker. Like, it's just not, no, it's fucking
fair enough.
It's fucking horrible. He's like trying to fight. I can't. That's just too fucking much.
Wow.
Dexter died over there laughing too.
I'm fucking dying because it's funny because I agree with everything you're saying. They really, really do. But unfortunately, there are scenarios that are completely out of your fucking thing. It's just it is what it is. I have learned, honestly, that with the best of it, sometimes it's not what you want, buddy. It's what's supposed to happen.
Let's flip the script on Dan here. What would your 17-year-old self
Yes, please.
say to you right now?
That's a very good question. I never thought of how I would answer that question.
See, it goes back to it's easier to give advice than take advice. Like,
that's not even it.
No,
no,
because it's an amazing question. I'm gonna actually think about that. Like truly think about that when we're done over the next week or so, and like how I'd actually answer that.
Yeah, I'll give you another really good one that I've been asking people as well here in a minute. But 17-year-old Daniel, what would he say about who I've become and the life that I'm living? Well, I think he would be impressed because he expected to be dead by 20. Well, so I really had no intentions of living past. I think I'm pretty sure when I turned 20, I cried because I didn't have a plan. And I didn't know and he had no idea who I wanted to be or what I was going to do. The only thing that I wanted to do was play ball. And I think I got hurt when I was 20. Pretty sure I was 20 years old when I got hurt. Face is licking again. Fucking bullshit. And like after that, I didn't have a plan, no direction whatsoever. And clearly I went home and became even more of a degenerate than I was when I went to college and got into more troubles and did more things that I knew that were wrong. So I think I would be truly amazed at where I started to where I am now. And even like the person that I was when I moved to Florida, like I was already in a better spot over the course of that year. And that was what? Fuck. I was 42, or no, I was 32 when I moved here. And so, and then like for who I am now at 43, it's night and fucking day. And like every period of my life, I've grown so drastically into the next version of myself because it's been a constant, never-ending thing since the point, and not until I actually decided. Everything starts with a decision. Decided to not be the depressed individual, the angry, violent, alcoholic menace to society that I was. And that yeah, that's a very different thought process. Yeah. And if I would go back and talk to myself probably at the age of 10, I think I would have asked my younger self, look at the men around you and look at the people that you see. What kind of man do you want to be? And I think that question would have actually started the thought process of not what I wanted to do for a living, but what kind of human being I wanted to be moving forward. Because they always ask you what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
We tie our identity to our jobs, how we earn money, and we lose sight of actually who the individual is, what your contribution level is going to be, how are you going to impact the next generation and the current one that you're living in.
Dude, this is where Brad Lee starts dropping these fucking bombs.
So that's the stuff. That's what I think about, and that's what I've been asking the young people around me because even Alicia's nephew, I took him to church with me. We
Yeah.
we we had him over for the night, and he went to the main service with me. And I don't really get time to talk to him very often, so he's just sitting there kicking his legs, looking around. And it's like, what do you want to, or what kind of man do you want to be when you grow up? And he's like, I want to be a YouTuber. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Um, Me too, but I think there's something else there. So you're confused about the question. And it's like, what you want to do for a living. I'm glad that you found something that you want to develop and get good at. Um, but what kind of man do you want to be? It's like, look at me, look at your dad, look at your papa, look at your teachers, look at all the people around you, because you got a lot of different examples. And you can look at what you don't want, and you can look at what you want to, where you want to start, and you want to look at to where you want to excel to. But if you're never thinking about that stuff, you're never going to have anything to aim at to get there. And if you stop short and like, oh, okay, well, I want to stream video games. I'm like, all right, cool. You're fucking 11. Yeah, that's what you should want to fucking do. But like, what's past that? And you should see his like head exploded sitting there next to me in the church. He was just
They don't know how to.
like,
It's like foreign language to
it
them.
is.
Like they don't know how to
It's foreign language for a
comprehend
25-year-old.
it, it. But then again, a 25-year-old in 2025 is not a 25-year-old in 1995.
Yeah.
There's a big difference there,
Yeah.
and I think that disconnect over our generation versus the generation now, like I think we're millennials. I don't know the whole this and Gen X and Ys and Zs and boomers and motherfucker, I'm an 80s baby.
Shut your dirty
Like
fucking mouth. Call me a millennial again. My wife does it. It disgusts me.
so you must be the year right before the millennial then, because like I'm 84 and I know you got a couple years on me, but
Yeah.
we're to me like we're the same generation, right? Because we're on that cusp of I think it goes from like Zen to millennial, but I don't know. But anyway, the
See,
the
the internet says I'm a millennial, so and
right.
I'm in denial.
Z.
No, I've claimed Z my whole life, and it's never gonna fucking change.
I'm Z all the way. I'm still 70s.
Yeah, nope. I'm pretty sure. I think 80 is
I
Z.
think it goes to 82, 84.
See, that's what I thought, but apparently, uh, my wife has told me otherwise. So 82 is supposedly a millennial.
But so I think where I was trying to go with that is that, you know, my son's 18 and I've really been trying to maybe I need to take the approach that you did with your nephew, is that change the verbiage and expand his mind a little bit, even if it takes him a week, a month, 6 months to let it resonate to where it makes sense. Because lately it's just been a matter of my biggest priority over the last year was just to get him done with high school.
Yeah.
I don't care about your attendance, I don't care about your grades, just please get done with high school. Because at the end of the day, I know my kids aren't valedictorians. They're not getting an education scholarship. I'm okay with that, right? But I'm like, I just need you to get done, because I've seen the teachers and I've seen their teaching styles and this and that, and it's an entire different conversation for a different day. But
Yeah.
just to get him to focus on completing, and his due date. So he asked at the end of his first semester of his senior year, can I go to online school? I said, sure, give me the information. And his eyes were like really? Like, yeah, bro, if that's what it's going to take to get you to complete, then absolutely.
Yeah.
So we got him in there. And then for the first month or so, it was pretty rough. And I'm like, hey, man, this is what you asked for. I know you struggle asking for help. I get it. You still think that you're 10 years old asking dad for help on your math homework when he's shit faced. I traumatized you. I get it, but you gotta ask. And due date was May 15th. And I said, hey, my expectation for you to get done by May 1st. It was like April, I don't know, 5th, April 7th, something like that. We're talking, chopping it up. And you know what? I knew he knew 420 was coming. I said, you get done by 420, I'll get you a little surprise. Sure as shit. He was done within a week.
Oh God,
Motivation,
dude.
I swear.
Motivation.
He was done within a week. And I think, and I've been guilty at this, and I know I will never get the younger years of their lives back, ever. So I try as hard as I can to not just tell them, but show them how proud of both my kids are, of I am of them.
Yeah.
And so lately it's just been like, all right, so I haven't been bugging him about a job, anything like that. But I've been kind of setting the expectation that like grandpa's been paying for your car for the last year, right? Come July, that car payment ain't made. You ain't got a car. So I've been trying to set that expectation and give him an ample amount of time. So now it's just like, hey, let's just find a job, something that you can make some money, 20 to 25 hours a week. We'll figure out whatever you want to do after high school. So that's like based on where we're at, that's like I just need you to just figure something out. Then we can go on to the next step from there.
Mm. Yeah. And that was like, making his brain expand, his mind expand. And that was one of those things, even with that young man, that little boy, you could tell like his brain completely exploded. And I was like, no, I could see, I told him, I was like, I could see it on your face that your mind is spinning right now.
That hamster is running his ass off.
And I was like, but I don't want you to answer me right now. I want you to chew on that. And every time you see me, I want you to think about it. And then I want you to answer me when you figured it out. And if you haven't answered me in a month, I'm going to ask you again. And I was like, do you understand me? He's like, yeah, I totally understand. And so I think that's just like even the lady that I work with, I told her to ask her boys that. And she was like, I can't believe the fact that they they literally started treating her differently the next day. And they started cleaning up behind themselves. And I was like, just ask them because she's got 3 kids, 3 baby daddies, all different. And it was like they had 3 different examples of what I guarantee they hate in men. And you ask them if they want to be like that. And sure as shit. So, yeah, quality of your life is going to be dictated by the quality of the questions you ask or get asked and how you can respond to them and be able to figure them out. And I think that's something that if we start that young enough, we can get people to a place where they're actually thinking about the future before the future's fucking punching them in the mouth.
As long as we start teaching these kids, I mean, I can speak for mine. I can't speak for anybody else.
Put the right stuff in your kids' hands at a young age.
You're correct. You have to start them at a younger age, because honestly, society does a great job of forcefully forgetting. Gary Vee, I think, is the only person who whatever those 9-figure earners that still says it doesn't fucking matter. You're an idiot. It's okay. You could be an idiot until you're 90. You're gonna figure it out. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. And that is not everybody needs to be a fucking gazillionaire. Not everybody is a garbage man. We need certain people in certain places, whether it's temporarily or lovingly, whatever it is. We need mortgage brokers, right? We need construction workers, project managers. We need fucking airplane guys. We need all this stuff. We need electricians. We need an electrician here to do some shit. It's like we need things. And unfortunately, when things are the society in itself, right? I hear in this country, if you don't go to university, if you don't have a college degree, you're an idiot. But do you want to know how many doctors are driving cabs? You want to know how many attorneys are driving fucking taxis? I mean, I can show you. Hold on. Let me see. Where is this? Look at this.
Well, if you ever see
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 12 taxis right here.
That's funny.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's just like there's cabs everywhere.
Well, I was just like, if you see a supercar, the first thing that comes to your mind isn't that motherfucker must have went to college.
No, never.
Not anymore.
Never.
10 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. I never thought that.
You'd have to be a neurosurgeon to be driving what I want to drive.
If that. See, that's the thing. They don't teach about owning a clinic. You don't have to be a doctor to own a clinic. I learned that one a couple of years, about 12 years ago, when my father fucking owned a dental clinic.
No.
Fucking, because I don't have to be. Fucking you can hire a doctor for a couple $100,000. I was like, oh shit.
The people that do the work are the people that pay the money.
Right. It's people who put it together. That's where the money comes in. It's not about whether you're manual labor or your carpets. Now, manual labor is extremely important because it teaches you how to work with your hands, how to be creative, expand your mind, turning that piece of wood into whatever that magic thing or that marble or whatever artist, anything that has creative wise, but then again, carpenters, electricians, mechanics, we have to have a certain perception.
I get it. Yeah. I said even the truck drivers. It was like that skill got me a job, and my ability to solve problems is what got me to be able to run the show. Mm-hmm. So but again, like I have a really good skill set with driving trucks, but that shit makes you only so much. You only have so many hours in the day. Like you got to be able to fucking actually think, and if you can't, you're gonna be stuck where you are.
With that whole aspect of doing things that you don't want to do and so forth. Here's an example, and that's what I was trying to tell you guys earlier when Daniel's word it just keeps bugging. Not doing what you're supposed to do. So, do you remember when I told you that when Sebastian and Gabrielle were still in school, I took college classes. I would wake up at 2:00 in the fucking morning just to take some online classes so I could be at work by 7 and have the kids ready by 6 and show them that even though dad still comes home at 9, 10 o'clock at night, he still wakes up at 2:00 in the morning to go to fucking college. I didn't get a degree. I just did. And I did that for like 2 years just to prove a fucking point. Hey, if dad can do it, I don't need the fucking degree. I don't care. It's just another piece of toilet paper. It really is. It's basket weaving. It doesn't matter. But it's just a fact of action. Just take action. Do something. Move steps in. If I'm not a fan of just the universe is going to give me everything I want. No, you gotta fucking. It's not that. It's not that simple. Sit under a fucking bridge and wait for anything to happen. You may not starve. You may survive, but you're not going to have, your dreams aren't going to become reality. Everything has to do with what everything we've talked about is how you frame your mind, what actions you do, what habits you create, how you talk to yourself. That's pretty much how everything is. How can you be a better husband if you're a piece of shit to yourself? How are you a better dad? If you don't realize, I mean, shit, I have my own personal daddy issues, and Daniel and I have gone through them, quite a bit of them. And with that being said, it's like you start realizing, you know what? That's why my son never did that. That's why I never did that to my son, or whatever it is, or maybe his life was a little bit easier or not so easy, or whatever it is. But we use these experiences consciously to expand and help other people. Let's start with our own. I really do, and that when. Well, let me finish it off. That's why I didn't want to fucking do it, because I didn't want to go back to fucking college. That's what it was. I told my daughter, I was like, listen, start taking some classes. I don't want to take your $1,500 a month, because the VA pays me $1,500 for her to go to class for free, right? So I'm like, you know what? I could use the fucking cash. Why not? Here you go. Hey, Gabby, this is your school. That pays for your electricity. That pays for your car. That pays for your insurance, your cell phone. Cool. Let's do that. She's like, yeah, okay, no problem. All right. You know what? You do that and I'll help out as well. I could use my extra $1,500. Why not? I don't want to do that shit. I don't need to wake up I already wake up at 4 anyway. That's naturally. Down here, it's fucking. Sometimes you're like, go back to sleep, please. But but it's the thing that I just didn't want to do it. It wasn't important to me. I guess you could say that. That's probably why I missed appointments. Life happened and something got in the way. So yeah, maybe Daniel, I am a piece of shit, but I didn't want to do it. So it's okay. But that was the whole purpose behind it. That was the whole purpose, because I don't want to take her money. She's actually open, and she gives me like $700, $800 a month. She's like, here, Dad, take some money. I'm like, all right, I'll take your cash. I'd rather take the 50 for VA, but she'd rather pay me out of pocket than go to school. She's a smart girl, Like, fuck you, I'll take care of this.
That's funny.
It's all good. Oh yeah.
I think that's gonna do it.
Yeah, we're coming up. Yeah.
The dog wants to participate.
Is that a tripod?
Yeah, she's a tripod. That's my mom. She's like, her name is Raya. She's 13, 14 years old. She lost her leg.
Oh
wow. I wasn't shooting that day. We were at my mom used to have a property up in Lakeland, and about 2.5 acres. We were out there shooting all the time. Well, one day, my stepdad, he was out shooting. He had just gotten a puppy, like 2 months old, 3 months old. She got so scared, she ran underneath a trailer. She was like sitting here, and he's shooting that way. With the first bang, she ran across the field, dove underneath a trailer. But when she dove in, her foot got caught in a hole, a pothole or something. And she destroyed her leg. It broke like in 5 pieces. So it was easier just to take it off of the joint. So, and she was only like 3 or 4 months old.
Yeah, that pretty sucks.
Yeah,
she's a trooper. I mean, better that than after 10 years.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Bounce back faster.
Yeah, 3, 4 months old, it's normal to her dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think I got everything today.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, thanks so much.
What was that?
I said, Justin, it was a pleasure to meet you, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely, man. For sure.
And so Tucson, huh? My wife and I, we were there a couple months ago, about a month ago. When was I there?
Yeah.
January. Yeah, I went to the that trade show. What was it? The Gem Fair.
The Gem and Mineral Show. Yeah.
I was there for that.
There's
just a lot of that shit over there.
Yeah, a lot of that. We've got rodeo days and like it's home, man. We've tried leaving a couple times. I mean, I almost ended up where Dan's at, or close to it, back in like 2010 or 11. And then I almost ended up in Phoenix a couple times. It's just, I mean, Tucson's home, man.
When are you guys coming back down? Because beaches just opened back up. Before hurricane season hits again.
Yeah. So her parents actually went down there to pick up grandma, and they actually went up to Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's not down there no more. But I definitely want to make another trip. Clearwater, Tampa, Fort Myer area. I mean, I had a blast out there. I mean, it'll have it's been a while since I got my ass up at 4 o'clock to go to the fucking gym, but I can do it again.
Yeah, he came out and we weren't going that early then, were we?
Nah, it was. I think we were at the gym right after 5. Picking you up. I was picking you up at about 5.
Yeah, no. That wasn't bad.
It was a great setup, though, for sure.
Yeah. Freaking Alicia goes to the gym with me now, but she doesn't like
that.
So we always hit.
I don't know how the hell you go to Planet. Like,
you have to go early.
Okay.
That's the only way that works. Because what happens when you go to a gym that's cheap, inexpensive, cost effective, however you want to fucking word it, everybody goes there. And it's not everybody that has any type of gym etiquette or anything like that. It's literally everybody. People are using it for the fucking shower, that are homeless, that are sleeping in their cars. Like, it's literally everybody. So if you're not going between, I don't know, fucking 3:30,
5 and 7.
If you're not going between 3:30 in the morning to 5 a.m., you're starting to catch the masses that are coming in at 6:30, 7 o'clock. And I'm just not for it. Like, I went to do legs on Thursday, and there's a lady that was sitting on the freaking leg press machine, and she was having a text message conversation in between her sets at it was like 5:15 in the morning. And I was like livid because I only have so much time, and I have a schedule for a reason, and I stick to it. And it's like, okay, cool, we could all work out, we share. I'm like, yeah, community equipment, whatever. But man, don't bring your bitch ass in here and sit on the fucking leg press machine, fucking texting your fucking boyfriend or whatever you got going on. Like, nah, bro. And there's one of those fucking machines in the gym. So that's even makes it that fuck you, Planet Fitness, for only having one fucking leg press machine. How about that? But still, like, don't be the fucking asshole that's gonna sit there. Yeah, so the gym is a sore subject for me.
Slow down, Goggins. Slow down.
like the force strong. I could legit just like lift somebody up. There's so many different scenarios. Like, bro, I'm sitting on the freaking leg extension machine for like the past 20 minutes. How many sets do you have left? Oh, 13. No, you don't. You got fucking legs, bitch. Like, you don't have 13 sets. You're just being an asshole. Like, it's beyond me. I just don't understand it. It pisses me off. So how can you be so fucking inconsiderate about the lives of others that you would do stuff like that?
Yeah,
I'm not the only person in there, so I know when I get on shit, I get the fuck off of it and keep it moving. But no. And that's why I like the warehouse, where there is nobody. And I can listen to Goggins over the loudspeakers. Or whatever the fuck I want, Jim Rohn, Jordan Peterson, and yourself, I don't care. But it's just, there's no, I work out with great people every time I go to that place because I'm listening to people that I actually admire and I want to hear what they have to say. So,
absolutely.
Well, yeah. All right, rant voice. I have to cut that motherfucker out. Maybe I'll just make it the intro screen.
There you go.
Once again, thank you so much for the call, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it, fellas.
No, thanks for the long. We'll talk soon.
We'll talk soon, man.
We'll be at the beach later.
From the trenches to the boardroom, we built from the grind.